So this is about where the accident happened.
911, what's your emergency?
Medic 1 here, Medic 5.
This is Medic 5, currently inbound to your facility, ETA of about 10 minutes. Check for a pulse.
Start for transport.
Hey, I'm Cory Hepola. I'm a husband, a dad, and we live in the Twin Cities. I was born and raised in Otter County, Minnesota. Growing up, I was in such a hurry to leave that I never really got to know my home. What did I miss? What changed? I was gonna find out. Is this the episode with Brett?
Yep. Yeah.
Did we ever find the yearbook?
Yeah, we did. Yep.
Oh, look at this thing. See, I knew it. There would be a picture with us close together, Brett Glawe and Cory Hepola. I just remember being like, that guy's smart. Like, 'cause I'm not kidding, but like,
Good at faking things.
nah, you can't fake that. Brett was always really good in science and math, and he loved them both, so it only made sense. Dr. Brett Glawe.
My thought was the best thing for me to do would be family medicine so that I could take care of the patient throughout their whole aspect of life.
You gotta go to a lot of school to become a doctor. Brett and I graduated together at Perham High School, then he went to undergrad at St. Olaf, then he moved to Chicago for research at Northwestern, and then he went to medical school where in his third or fourth year, he realized
I just recognized with surgery that that was the passion. It was seeing a problem, treating that problem, making the person better.
I'm not sure how he does it. Opening people up like that, I'd get queasy. Cause like the frogs in 9th grade, like there's something about the smell or something. Like I don't know, I had a hard time getting over that.
The only time I've ever gotten queasy is, did you ever take college biology in high school?
No, but I do remember being completely lost in pre-calc and asking Brett for help in the hall before class. I needed it. Anyway, I was on a tangent there. College biology. No, I missed that one.
I loved telling this story later in life because if you get outside of this area and tell people that that's what I did in my high school class, they're like, you gotta be kidding me. That didn't really happen.
Okay. Okay. I like where this is going. Sharing unique Otter County stories. This is why we're here.
So like we literally walk in to the locker plant and they walk a cow in that's alive. And then they proceed to, they shoot it in the head and then proceed to cut it all up.
Yeah.
And during the middle of that, I'm like, I'm out.
Well, you don't get that in every high school, do you? Crazy thing though, Brett grew up on a farm, so he'd seen things before.
But growing up on the farm, that's one aspect I didn't enjoy. I never liked watching that part.
There's another part that no one liked watching, especially Brett's younger brother and his dad. October 15th, 1991.
Driving Bobcat had some bales in it, and my brother and I were so small that the two of us were on the seat together.
A bale fell off, so Brett got off the Bobcat and tried to put it back in the bucket, only he couldn't. He was too small.
And it crushed me between the bucket and the frame, and I was out instantly.
Brett wasn't breathing. His younger brother quickly ran for help, sprinting inside the barn to get their dad, who knew exactly what to do.
Dad gave me rescue breathing, and something he'd learned in the military.
And your dad? I mean, I can't imagine, like, to see your son
Yeah.
like that, and then to have the frame of mind to like, okay, I gotta jump into action here too. It's incredible.
I can't imagine having to do that to one of my kids.
His dad saved his life. Brett woke up, an ambulance came and rushed him to Perham, where he was immediately flown to Fargo. Somehow he didn't break any bones, although he did suffer a lacerated liver and a collapsed lung. He was in the Fargo hospital for 8 days.
You gotta open this.
Okay.
And
All right, you guys ready for this?
so that's my troll.
Huh.
There you go.
What? Look at that. It's crazy. I remember that now. I do. I remember drawing the troll. You remember trolls? They were super popular back then. They had the hair, and that's what I'm doing here. That's the hair. And then I remember writing a message from the Minnesota Twins. They were in the World Series. They ended up winning the World Series a couple of days later.
These are all letters that my mom kept, of course, from family, friends, but like literally all of our classmates sent notes and letters.
Yeah, our whole grade sent him stuff, letters and gifts. I can't believe I'd forgotten about all of this. Our memories are so personal, aren't they? I mean, that moment altered Brett's life. It's why he is who he is today.
The Bobcat incident for me, that's the story. You know, that's what changed my life, and I look at it as being a big positive. That's when I fell in love with medicine and things never changed.
So I kind of know where we're going, but Vergus, right?
Vergus, yeah,
Okay.
south side of Long Lake.
So we're home.
Here we are. This is where it all started.
So this is about where the accident happened. He rushed into action pretty quick. The story I hear is he had to throw the bail off and raise the bucket and get me out, lay me down, and then recognized that I wasn't breathing and just knew the next steps, you know, remembered what he learned in the Army and started rescue breathing and got me back. Do you think about that often? I know it was a life-changing moment for you, but do you think about it often today? I do, yeah. That year anniversary, every year on that day, I definitely think about it. Just doing what I'm doing, I'll sometimes think back about this moment and how it brought me to where I am now.
That's interesting, right? So, a farming accident causes a near-death experience, which leads to a life-saving experience where Brett experiences positive medical professionals who inspire him to become a doctor to save lives. What if that doesn't happen? Does he use his gifts to become a doctor? And even so, does he choose to come back home to practice? Because Brett's talented. He could be anywhere, yet he and his wife Michaela are raising their 2 young kids here, and they love it, even in the winter. This place, near his childhood farm, is where Brett calls his paradise. They're building a house here on Long Lake, about 10 miles from Perham, just outside of Vergus.
What do you think, Cory? Can you see it? Little heaven, little paradise?
I can visualize.
You gotta get a little creative in the winter, but that's what the snowmobiles, the sleds, the shovels are for.
Yeah. So right here?
Yeah, this is the plan. Build the house here.
Man, he's found it. Listen to the way he talks about his home. I mean, it's freezing out there. We can barely enunciate. You ever notice that? How when you're in really cold weather, it's hard to enunciate? But that's his place, his paradise.
Beautiful view of the lake. The sunsets, you gotta imagine the sun setting.
That's paradise right there.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Look at that, though. That's easy. What a pro.
Easy is.
Only game he had in the house. I think he's setting me up with that one.
It is hard, Cory.
Come on. Yes. You're a smart guy. You could be anywhere. But why come back to Perham?
I tried to look at other places to just make sure that this was the right place. Scope out other hospitals, other towns, get a feel for them. And you know, I always came back to, well, nothing beats Perham.
He's not exaggerating. Brett's a surgeon at one of the top 10 hospitals in Minnesota. Perham Health is celebrating 120 years of service in 2022 by landing on the World's Best Hospitals report by Newsweek. Right up there with the Mayo Clinic and the University of Minnesota Medical Center is Perham Health, the only small rural community hospital listed in the state's top 10, and it ranks in the top 300 in the US.
I take care of a lot of patients that travel and they go south for the winter, and so many of them do everything that they can while they're up here in the summer months.
which means Perham Health keeps growing. They're seeing a record number of people for therapy, imaging, and surgery, so they're constantly expanding services, which means good jobs. And it's not just in Perham. Next year, 3 of the top 10 employers in Otter County will be highly rated healthcare systems.
I'll go to church and people will come up to me, sometimes to my wife, and just thank me or her for taking care of so-and-so. Patients are almost always appreciative.
You know, being the surgeon in a small town is kind of a big deal. Local celebrity.
And it happens a lot. We're at the grocery store and they'll sometimes even show you, hey, look at this. What do you think? Or my incision's healing up pretty good. It made me nervous. Like, would I really want that? Do I want the privacy where I live in a big city and I never see one of my patients? And, but I've never had a bad experience.
That's a product of the environment you create though, right? Like, if you put goodness into the world, it tends to follow you. And I think that's something Brett learned early on. And it's something he's constantly reminded of being back home. October 15th, 1991, Brett's life-changing moment, saved by his brother, his dad, and the EMS team that rushed to help. It all came full circle when, a couple of years ago, one man was in Brett's pre-op room waiting for surgery.
He starts talking to the nurses about how he was on the EMS team that came out to take care of me. And he said that when he showed up, he said, I couldn't find a blood pressure on him. I swore this kid wasn't gonna make it, but we did the things that we were supposed to do, and here he is. It's phenomenal.
All this has me thinking. Our actions, our words, our choices have consequences. Doesn't matter if we live in a small town or we live in a large city, we have a massive impact on the world around us. And that's why it's so important to be present and intentional with how we treat others. Like, we can choose to make a positive difference every day with this mentality. How can I help? Not what can I gain from this, but how can I help? And I think we'll be happier too, because you never know who's gonna need us or when it'll be us.